Good evening and welcome to The Business Coach, a show in which you're out to help entrepreneurs better their businesses. Before I get to start off the show, I'd like to bring you to the know-how that each and every morning from Monday to Thursday from 7 a.m. to 7:30, we're doing reruns. So in case you're watching this show, tomorrow morning you can still continue watching The Business Coach. And also on Tuesday, you can watch us on The Business Coach Instagram Live on Instagram at KTN Home. Tonight, I'm quite excited because I'm hosting a guest I've looked for quite a while, Mr. Myke Rabar. But before we get into engage into the conversation, here's a brief bio of Myke Rabar. Myke Rabar is the co-founder and CEO of Homeboys Group that has been in existence for the last 2 decades, having existed from 1995. He holds different titles, including the CEO of the IAAF Under-20 Championship, Publis One East Africa, and also is the chairman of the Homeboys Foundation. Myke, how are you?
Yes, sir. I'm fine, thank you.
I've looked for you for quite a while. Finally today, we're making it happen.
Christmas has come earlier.
Christmas has come earlier. I can see from your background here, I don't know, you're in Kasarani?
Yeah, I'm in my office in Kasarani, actually, yes.
Interesting. So sometime early in the year, or rather, was it late last year, you were in the Lions Den, but you decided to exit because you got a new appointment as the CEO of IAAF. First of all, how was that particular feeling of being appointed as the CEO?
For me, I've not been employed in a long time, so it's a bit different having to report to somebody with activity. So that was a bit strange, but just the fact of what you're putting together is so huge. I think is what has given me all this excitement to really take it up with all that I've taken, that have got actually in me.
All right, and did you apply for this particular job, and why exactly did you apply for it?
I didn't apply for the job.
Mm-hmm.
No, I never applied for the job. I think somebody just realized that there's somebody who understands this space pretty well, and I think it's that guy. So they came looking for me. So I was actually headhunted, so to say.
Interesting. And I know you're an entrepreneur, and then you've been put in a position whereby you're now a CEO and quote unquote employed. But the interesting thing was that the championship was supposed to happen this year, but Corona has happened. How did it make you feel? And how are you going about in the planning? What exactly do you expect from this?
I think there's both disappointment and relief, because for these things you are never prepared. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's always something to do. Come the last minute, there's always be things to do. But the fact that we've really pushed very hard to get to this point, the event should have been in July.
Yes. In
a few weeks' time. So we're prepared, really, and ready to give it our best shot. But I think giving an extra few months is no harm. It just gives us time to keep on streamlining, because, we're sticklers for excellence.
Yes.
So we're always trying to improve certain areas, and I guess we'll make the most of the time that we have and make sure the event even gets even better.
Interesting. And I presume there's so much going on in terms of planning for this particular event. How much has it taken you away from your day-to-day business? Because as a Homeboys Group, I know you're managing so many companies.
I think for me, the first challenge was, can I do this job with what I have ongoing? And for me, it was really a personal, I think I just felt that this was the time to try and so they can step off as a driver of Homeboys and act as chairman so that he can run itself. So it was a true test. It has been a true test, and I think so far it's working pretty well. So I spent 80% of my time with the Under-20 initiative, another 20% with the core business. But I think because of the team I have in place, things are stabilizing pretty well. So it might mean early retirement for me, actually, which is a bit worrying.
Oh, interesting. And under Homeboys, there are so many companies that you're under the group. How much has the pandemic affected the day-to-day business? Because I know you have interest in music, interest in radio, so many different industries that you're playing in.
I mean, without a doubt, we've been affected. Again, 80% of our business revolves around interacting with people on a one-on-one. Yeah. So you can imagine if that has been put aside, there's only so much you can do in terms of servicing your clients if you can't get to meet, or you can't get to bring their products to life, or you can't get to do or produce the concerts and events that were very, very vocal, and including sports. So you can imagine that we now have to rethink and revise ways of being able to connect with our consumers, as we're doing now, which of course is not the same.
And amongst the industries that you're operating in is in events. I know Homeboys, you do quite a number of events and you come up with a lot of concepts. So how much, or rather what's the business model right now as you're going about your operations? What exactly are you doing right now since people cannot gather together?
I think we've been forced to continue. We're not going to sit back and wait for the situation to change. So what we've done is we just conduct events differently. So we're doing more virtual events where we're having setups and we're inviting all our stakeholders to converge in the same forum as we're doing now, using Zoom and other tools. So we've been forced to slow down a bit, but it's not shut shop. Like I said, we're constantly finding ways to innovate to make sure that we keep engaging with our consumers and our partners.
You've been in business for 20 years, actually more than 2 decades. I think it's from more than 95. That's when you started off. That's quite a long time.
Yeah.
Would you consider this the hardest period you've been in business? Because I'll also like later on to get now into your story. Would you consider this the hardest period?
No, it's not the hardest. It's probably the most unique, you know? Yeah, so it's just trying to find ways, and which for us is also exciting, is how do you find different ways to deliver the same product. So I wouldn't say it's the hardest, probably the most challenging.
Yes.
But then it also makes you rethink and reinvent yourself. So I don't quite mind the scenario because eventually it'll go away, and when it does stabilize, we'll be a different group of people doing things differently.
And prior to the role that you're playing right now as the CEO of the IAAF Under-20 Championship, you're in the Lion's Den. How was the experience for you there, making decisions and making investment? How was the experience for you?
I think for me, what I learned in the Den is that there's a lot of vast ideas out there. People have got different ways of analyzing situations, you know. So when you look at one thing, you know, look at certain scenarios in one way, and then you've got somebody pitching you an idea in a very different way. It makes you realize, hang on a minute, this guy is actually making sense. So for me, it was very educative. Sitting on this side, you learn so much from people's ideas and how passionate they're about certain things and how they believe in certain concepts. And it just also gets you thinking so differently. But I quite enjoyed that experience.
And you made a couple of deals within the Den. What would you consider to be your best deal?
Oh man, you know, the deals are all so vast. So I wouldn't say that there's a particular one that stood out, because I've got deals in agriculture, fintech, entertainment, education, and they're all so diverse and they all have different nuances. So when you look at each one of them, you can't quite say this one performs better than the other, because they're all talking to different people in different facets of society. So I think for me, there are quite a number that stood out. Because I don't pick on anyone. I might make some enemies actually.
And when you're making your deals, what are your considerations? Because you know each and every investor has something they're always looking for. So like before, doing this particular recording, there's a couple of entrepreneurs are asking me, oh, I'm trying to get in touch with Myke Rabar, so I'm trying to pitch this. What do you look for when any entrepreneur approaches you with a particular idea for an investment?
I think the most important for me is personality, if not even the idea. Because we have ideas we can give you to implement, right? Yeah. So it's more personality. Do you have the I think the tenacity to go out there and face what you're putting out there? Because the ideas are very many, but it's the personality, it's the drive, it's the passion that we're looking out for. So for me, a lot of ideas were both more on the individual as opposed to the grand idea. I said, if this guy can actually come and pitch this to me, I know it might not work, but if I give him something else, he's willing to take that turn and make it work. You know, so I think for me, more individualism than anything else.
All right, interesting. And your journey, because I think prior to our recording, I was referring to you as quote unquote the Kenyan Jay-Z. But you said
where's the Beyonce?
All right, so you are a DJ, you know, more than 2 decades back, and you're amongst the pioneers. How was it in terms of you getting into the music business initially? Back then, how exactly was it? And what are some of the challenges you faced as compared to what people are facing right now?
And I think for us, let's just say I got into it not by accident per se. I quite loved the music. I was never cut out to be a businessman, you know? Yeah. I just wanted to go out there, do my thing, and just the fact that guys would enjoy my mixes is what kept me going, you know? So I made them slicker, better, longer. And before you know it, I was getting paid for it. But that was never the plan, you know? And eventually how it ended up being a business is when you start getting more and more requests to be the same place at the same time. You can't. So then forced to now get a group of other people, try and share your vision with them, give them your mixes, send them out there to go do the work for you, organize the transport, organize how they'll get paid, how they'll be fed. And before you know it, you have a team of people you're operating. And that's how the business just started off, you know?
All right, so we're going to continue with this particular conversation after the break, just to find out how exactly did a DJ now become a guru and now a CEO, which is quite interesting. We're going to be discovering, but don't touch that dial, and I'll see you after the break. So keep it right here on The Business Coach, where we help entrepreneurs better their businesses.